Hello, and welcome to Signal Boost. I'm your host, Callie Pruitt, Senior Strategist for Grassroots Advocacy on APS's Government Affairs team. Today, we're breaking down one of APS's top policy priorities and discussing why it matters. Our issue deep dive today is broadening research opportunities to help create a stronger, more diverse STEM workforce. Let's get to it. It's widely recognized that diversity, equity, and inclusion are key to the long-term success of the American scientific enterprise. But as important as DEI is, that value is not reflected in the resources provided to many colleges and universities and minority-serving institutions. Historically, the colleges and universities that educate and train the majority of people from underrepresented groups have received a disproportionately low fraction of federal science and engineering funding. In 2018, for example, only 10% of federal science and engineering funding went to more than 3/4 of institutions with research activities. That equates to almost 500 emerging research institutions, that is, institutions with smaller research portfolios, receiving only 1/10 of all federal science and engineering research resources. Not only that, these emerging research institutions, or ERIs for short, are responsible for serving nearly 60% of all students, 2/3 of the nation's underrepresented minority students, and more than 2/3 of Pell Grant recipients. So, a consequence of the lack of R&D funds for these institutions is that their students have limited or no opportunity to engage in research. These students are effectively being excluded from the future STEM workforce. In addition, research participation is a high impact practice for strengthening and diversifying the STEM workforce. STEM students who engage in research experiences are more likely to pursue careers in a STEM field, go to graduate school, and report more satisfaction with their education, among many other positive impacts. That's why broadening research opportunities is one of APS's top federal policy priorities, and one we and many APS member advocates have been raising awareness about in Congress. So what can Congress do to help address the research gap? Well, first, we're urging them to enable meaningful, lasting partnerships between top research universities and emerging research institutions, including minority-serving institutions, or MSIs for short. With the focus of partnerships being on building research capacity at the emerging research institutions. Congress can do this by directing federal agencies to prioritize these partnerships in bills that authorize our science agencies' activities. Second, Congress can enact policy provisions to ensure federal agencies are strongly encouraging research proposals directly from emerging research institutions and minority-serving institutions. Finally, Congress can require science agencies to perform a comprehensive portfolio analysis of the awards for emerging research institutions and minority-serving institutions to identify best practices and methodologies for increasing funding to these institutions. We're encouraged by the inclusion of provisions like these in legislation pending in both the House and Senate. APS and its members played a key role by reaching out to representatives in Congress, and our team at APS Government Affairs have been involved in direct advocacy on your behalf. Although there are still a few more steps before these critical provisions become law, we are grateful for all your work and hopeful for a positive outcome. The bottom line is that when more students have access to research opportunities at their home institution, the science community and our nation reap the benefits, and Congress can ensure both of those. If you'd like to take action on this issue, you can contact your members of Congress at the link in the description. That's all for this edition of Signal Boost. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you next time.